In an unprecedented turn of events, some of Donald Trump's most ardent media supporters are now turning on him, questioning his choices for key positions in his upcoming cabinet. This backlash is especially notable given the history of mutual loyalty between Trump and Rupert Murdoch's media empire, which includes properties like the New York Post, Fox News, and the Wall Street Journal. The same outlets that once cheered Trump's every move are now condemning his cabinet selections in the strongest possible terms, using words like dreadful, catastrophic, and unqualified. The New York Post's call for change. This week, the New York Post ran an editorial pleading with Trump to rethink his choices for cabinet positions, particularly focusing on two controversial picks, Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard. The op-ed, titled, "Please, Mr. President, Ditch This Dreadful Duo," comes across as a desperate cry for sanity. The Post spent the first half of the article attempting to flatter Trump's ego, a tactic well known to anyone familiar with Murdoch's media playbook. But as the article progresses, it takes a sharp turn, urging the president to reconsider these picks as they could derail his administration's future plans. The article criticizes Gabbard for her past praise of authoritarian leaders like Russia's Vladimir Putin and Syria's Bashar al-Assad. The New York Post argues that her isolationist views could be a liability for Trump, especially in a world where intelligence and military cooperation are paramount. There is genuine concern that Gabbard's sympathies for dictators could prevent her from effectively handling national security issues. As for Matt Gaetz, the editorial is scathing. Despite Trump's animosity toward the Department of Justice, the Post argues that Gaetz, who has been the subject of numerous investigations, most notably for his alleged involvement in sex trafficking, lacks the necessary ethics and legal experience to lead the DOJ. The article claims that Gaetz's disruptions of the system may satisfy Trump's thirst for revenge against his perceived enemies, but it won't help rebuild a department in dire need of reform. A wake-up call for Trump. The dangers of stubbornness. Both Gabbard and Gaetz are emblematic of a larger problem facing Trump's potential second term, the reality that his choices are becoming increasingly driven by loyalty rather than competence. The Post points out that Trump is wasting valuable political capital by stubbornly pushing these unqualified nominees, not out of necessity, but because he is unwilling to back down. In an era where every misstep is magnified by the media and political opponents, this could have catastrophic consequences for Trump's ability to accomplish his legislative goals. This criticism from Murdoch's flagship newspaper is striking, especially when considering how much influence the Post has had in shaping public perception of Trump's presidency. The editorial ends with a stern warning: continue down this path, and Trump will provide Democrats with an ammunition-rich arsenal for the 2026 elections, potentially eroding his power and making his agenda all but impossible to implement. Fox News and the growing frustration with Trump's GOP allies. Meanwhile, even Fox News has started to voice frustrations with Trump and his Republican allies. The latest controversy surrounding Republican senators during the lame duck period has caused consternation among conservatives. While President Biden, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and other Senate Democrats have been taking advantage of the absence of key Republican senators to push through judicial nominations, Fox's own hosts are questioning where the Republicans have been. Senator J.D. Vance, for example, faced criticism after skipping a crucial vote to conduct interviews for potential FBI director candidates. Vance later tweeted that he found it more important to secure a new FBI director than to focus on a single vote. This statement, which was later deleted, highlighted the growing divide between Trump-aligned Republicans and the actual work of governing. In a moment of sheer absurdity, Fox News also highlighted the story of Don Jr. at a SpaceX launch, using it as a diversion to avoid discussing the growing scandals surrounding Trump's inner circle. The media's focus on distractions, like transgender bathroom bills, has only intensified as they attempt to divert attention away from Trump's disastrous transition process and his questionable cabinet picks. The media's reluctant backlash, a sign of Trump's decline? Even the Wall Street Journal, another key part of Murdoch's media empire, has taken aim at Trump's cabinet choices. In an op-ed by GOP strategist Karl Rove, the Journal called Trump's nomination of Matt Gaetz catastrophically bad, pointing out that Gaetz's lack of legal expertise, ethics violations, and personal scandals make him an unsuitable candidate to lead the Department of Justice. Rove didn't stop there. He further criticized Trump's selection process, arguing that the president's focus on vengeance and settling personal scores was undermining the seriousness of the positions he was filling. According to Rove, the appointment of people like Gaetz could tarnish Trump's legacy and lead to the eventual collapse of his administration's credibility. The Republicans' culture, war distractions. While the media and even some within Trump's own camp focus on his problematic cabinet choices, others within the GOP are working to distract from their failures through culture war issues. Take Representative Nancy Mace and Speaker Mike Johnson, for instance, who have decided to target incoming Democratic Representative Sarah McBride, a transgender woman, with a bill to restrict her from using the women's bathroom in the House of Representatives. This absurd bathroom bill is being framed as a major issue, despite the fact that the focus on such trivial matters serves only to distract from far more pressing concerns, such as the economy, job losses, and the crisis in the manufacturing sector. In an interview with Scripps News, Mace was called out for spending countless hours tweeting about McBride's bathroom use, while failing to address the layoffs at Boeing, a company that directly impacts her constituents in South Carolina. This kind of distraction politics is nothing new for the GOP, which has long relied on culture war issues to rally its base while avoiding responsibility for more substantive issues. However, these antics are starting to wear thin, even among some conservatives, as they realize that this approach does little to address the economic struggles facing everyday Americans. Democrats respond, a focus on real issues. Democratic leaders like Hakeem Jeffries and Katherine Clark have not hesitated to call out these distractions for what they are, attempts to avoid tackling the real issues facing the country. Jeffries pointed out the irony of a Republican majority that seems more interested in bullying McBride over bathroom use than in solving pressing issues like the economy, healthcare, and job security. Similarly, Clark emphasized how the Republican focus on culture wars is indicative of their failure to engage with the real challenges of governing. Sarah McBride, for her part, remains undeterred by the GOP's attempts to use her identity as a wedge issue. In a statement that perfectly encapsulated her commitment to her role, she said, "I'm not here to fight about bathrooms. I'm here to fight for all Delawareans." McBride's focus on practical issues like lowering costs and fighting for workers stands in stark contrast to the GOP's obsession with culture wars. The backlash against Trump's cabinet choices from even his staunchest supporters in Murdoch's media empire represents a significant turning point in his political career. As his administration's transition unfolds, it's becoming increasingly clear that his focus on loyalty and revenge may be his downfall. The combination of unqualified picks, media backlash, and the GOP's continued reliance on culture war distraction signals that the next chapter of Trump's political journey may not be as smooth as he once hoped. As the 2026 elections approach, Trump will need to address these internal conflicts if he hopes to maintain any semblance of control over the Republican Party. Whether he can manage to pivot away from his chaotic choices and focus on the real issues facing Americans remains to be seen. But for now, it's clear that the once unbreakable bond between Trump and Murdoch's media empire is beginning to fray.